Taking some blackberry cuttings today and trying an experiment while I'm at it. I've had great success propagating blackberries with tip and serpentine layering, digging up the sucker plants, and even root cuttings, but stem cuttings have proven difficult. I'm going to try using primocanes and floricanes and even try scratching, wounding the plants to see if it helps. I have 2 cups for primocanes and 2 for floricanes, and 1 of each pair will have the cane scratched. I'm using a mix of potting soil and a little compost. Here I am preparing the primocane stem cuttings. Take off a few of the bottom leaves. I'm cutting the primocane stem into thirds, with each section about 6 to 8 inches long. When doing cuttings, it can be helpful to cut the part that will go down in the soil with an angle cut, so you don't confuse which way to place the cutting into the soil. If you do get them mixed up, then you can usually tell the right direction to set them by using the positioning of the leaves. Now I'll scratch and wound to hopefully encourage rooting. Place them in the cup. Take off some of the bottom leaves on the next one. Speed this up and move it along. Now I'll start with the floricanes. 1 cup will have scratching. And the other just the cuttings. The cuttings have been watered and the leaves misted. This is 1 week later and the leaves have dried out and curled. I'll keep on misting and trying for the next 3 weeks to complete the process, but past experience leaves me doubtful. Here's a close look at them failing. July 2022, this is a 1-month update on my blackberry cuttings, which have failed miserably. I have been able to successfully propagate my blackberries very easy using tip layering, serpentine layering, and digging up the suckers, but I am unable to get the blackberry cuttings to work. I've tried many different things. I've tried keeping them indoors. I've tried keeping them outdoors in the shade. I've tried a lot of moisture, not a lot of moisture. The only thing I haven't tried is using the rooting hormone, which I really was hoping to get this done without having to use rooting hormone. So that may be what it is. If you have any tips and tricks on how you're getting cuttings to work, especially if you're doing it without the rooting hormone, please leave me a comment below and tell me what the trick is that I'm missing. They're supposed to start taking root 3 to 5 weeks. So this is week 4, week 5. I'm pretty sure none of these have taken, but let's try one and see. I don't see any roots growing along the bottom or the sides. But I'll still be very careful as I remove the soil, just in case there happen to be any roots growing along the inside of the container. And just as I suspected, there's no roots growing. I don't think those are roots. think it's just part of the strands coming off. This is at 5 weeks, and I continued the misting up until yesterday, but they have dried out and failed. I really don't want to try using rooting hormone to make this work, and I think tip and serpentine layering is easier anyway. With cuttings, you have to keep misting throughout the process and worry about moisture levels. So I'll stick with layering, which works really well, and it's easy to do. Here's how I do it. The main two methods I use are tip layering and serpentine layering. I often use a small clear container at the beginning so I can see when the roots have started. Average time to see roots is around 3 to 4 weeks, but the fastest I've seen roots is 2 weeks. I take a small clear cup and I drill a few holes in the bottom and label it. Reusing a plastic cup makes it simple to give away and doesn't cost anything. So now I take some soil off the top. I bury the tip of the cane about 2 to 3 inches. Return the soil, and I pack the soil down so it doesn't come loose. Another option that you have is you can place a rock on the top, just like you see on the container on the right. Usually in 3 to 4 weeks, you'll see roots growing along the bottom and up the sides. Here we are, 3 weeks later on November 20th. Let's pick up the cup and take a look at the roots to get a better view. You can see many of them growing along the sides. And we also have 2 roots coming out of the bottom. So this one's ready to go. Next, I'll go up about 3 or 4 nodes, leaving plenty of leaves on the stem. And now I'll cut it from the rest of the cane. At this point, you can hand it to a friend or neighbor so they can start growing their own food. This all only took 3 weeks. So now I'm going to repot this into a larger container, and I'll take a better look at the roots. So that was tip layering my blackberry plants. It's very easy to do, and as you saw, I like to reuse simple plastic cups so I can easily hand them to friends or family who want to start growing their own blackberries. Another option that you have is serpentine layering, which I'll show next. Here's how I did my blackberry serpentine layering. So I took a single cane and I brought it down to this container. You can see where it went down in through here. I cover it with soil and it comes back out on this side. So originally the cane was only to about right here. And then as it continues to grow and gets long enough, I can then bring up a second container. And it does the same process. It's buried in the middle, comes back out on this side. And as it gets long enough, it goes into another container. And once again, buried across the middle, coming back out, and serpentine layering over to the next one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new blackberry plants, all from one cane. So the rocks are very helpful at the beginning. It kind of helps to hold it in place. But after it's been about 3 to 4 weeks, most of the time it's got roots growing. So you can kind of check it right there. I've got roots on all of those. And that's how I do my serpentine layering. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more videos from the Texas Gardener.